starting up the show that features product innovation, startup insights and issues that startups face. In fact, this week we're putting the spotlight on issues faced by startups. We've got a special panel discussion lined up. Lots to look forward to then. Let's take a look at what's coming your way over the next half hour. Does the mobile ecosystem lend itself to innovation? A special panel discussion. On Mentor Mantra, Ramesh has a surprise in store. We find out what it is as he faces his fundraising challenge head on. And finally, an advertising solution within your wardrobe. It's Hangvertiser on elevator pitch. The mobile startup ecosystem just isn't buzzing as much as it used to in the past, and that's a bit surprising considering we are seeing the launch of app stores and of course there's the projected launch of 3G. So what's the problem there really? Is the mobile startup ecosystem perhaps a bit innovation unfriendly, and what's the scope there? Well, in a special discussion of Startup Saturday, bigwigs of the telecom industry brainstormed over just that. So the ECL steers us through it.
July 2008 saw the launch of the Apple App Store, and it was a blowout success. Over 4 billion applications have since been downloaded, creating numerous startup success stories. Back home, for the mobile startup community, the story has been very different. A delay in the rollout of 3G, the lack of mobile internet penetration, and lopsided revenue sharing arrangements with operators have been some of the reasons cited for slow growth. Things, however, could be changing. Telecom operators have launched their app stores and the 3G auctions have finally taken place. Does all this augur well for the startup community? Let's find out. Over 500 million mobile subscribers, the mobile 3G auction which is set to raise over $10 billion for the Indian government. So the big question we're debating here today is the mobile startup ecosystem innovation unfriendly, or what are the opportunities that lay in store? And I have a power-packed panel to debate this topic. To introduce the panel, I've got Sameer Bangara. Sameer is the CEO of India Games and someone who's been partnering mobile operators for over a decade. Welcome, Sameer. I've got Shailesh Varudkar, who's the AVP for VAS for Vodafone. On my extreme left is Siddharth Agarwal, the founder of MobiQule, a very interesting mobile ERP startup in the space. And I've got Virendra Gupta, who has made a transition. He was the former general manager for VAS with Airtel, and now he runs a VAS startup of his own. And finally, Zubin Dubash, who heads VAS and holds multiple portfolios for Tata, including Tata Docomo and Tata Photon. So I'm actually going to start by tossing over to Siddharth. Siddharth, your consumer application, which is phone backup. To reach out to the consumer space, you've actually taken a nuanced approach. Can you take us through what your application does and what your distribution strategy is?
It does something very simple. Allows you to back up your mobile phone, and if you lost your mobile phone, you could get the backup on another phone.
Okay, and you've actually gone at it through a scratch card method, which is through a retail distribution method. Any particular reason why you haven't tied up with operators for this, what many other startups tend to do?
I think one is being a young startup. We did not have, it's not an open door policy, right? You can just not walk up to to an operator and sell your product. So one is we did not have the right access. Second was basically the revenue share. From very little that we have discussed with the operator, the revenue share is highly tilted. It's 70-30 in most cases, 70 to the operator and 30 to the service the application provider.
So Shailesh, live entrepreneur feedback right here at Startup Saturday. Vodafone just launched their app store, which has been quite a success. Yet you have folks like Siddharth who decide to go at it solo. And how do you give innovators like Siddharth and other startups consolation about Vodafone's distribution strategy and giving them enough support?
People need to understand also the operator side of the story. Okay, it's not that we just keep 70%. There's a huge taxation issue in India. Over 20% of what we earn goes out as taxes in some form to the government, license fees, etc. Okay, a lot of cost is put in by the operators in promoting these various services.
Vodafone App Store is one which perhaps has more width to hold more applications as opposed to Vodafone Live, which is top down. So can startups look forward to a better revenue share then on the App Store?
Can.
Right? Okay. So what can they look forward to?
I think it's a discussion based on one-on-one. Okay, it's a discussion based on what they're bringing onto the table.
Sure. So Siddharth, is the App Store something you'll be putting your application onto?
Yeah, that is something exciting. See, it at least gives a startup a window to quickly get on to consumers without going through the entire hassle of signing up with an operator and all that stuff.
What sort of revenue share would excite you there?
Oh, it reverses the revenue share, 70-30.
Fair point. Zubin, I'm going to get you into discussion now. One of the success stories in Japan at least was NTT Docomo's iMode. That was almost an open platform for application developers. Are there chances that Docomo will do something similar in India?
Yeah, while Docomo is our partner in India, we must understand that the two markets are very different. Japan is a very different, it's a predominantly post-paid market, very evolved, techno-savvy customer. India is a flat pyramid with mass customers only using voice-based services.
Sure. Virendra, I'm going to put you on the spot on this one. So you've dealt with startups while you were there, and now you're running a startup yourself. Now that you're on the other side, would you say that you're completely happy with the deal you're getting?
I would address it a bit differently. I think innovation should be coupled with the business, correct? Now, operator is a channel for any guy who's doing business. Like Siddharth, he has chosen a retail channel for his business. Now, if operator is a channel for your business, please understand that operator is a business of scale. See, there is no point making 100% of 10 rupees, but there is a lot of value in making 30% of a 10 lakh or 20 lakh rupees. So if your application is not generating 0.5% or 0.7% of the vast revenues, you will never make it. So if you decide to do business with operator, make sure you invest in the right things. Don't get carried away by the revenue share. I think get carried away by the revenue.
Right. So if you were to identify three sectors in which startups should work, what would they be?
Okay. First service I would say will be towards the rural subscribers. I'm not saying agriculture, I'm not saying telemedicine, I'm not saying animal husbandry. It can be these three, but no one has found the correct answer for it. In the last 3 years, operators have put in hundreds and thousands of crores in infrastructure there, and we've got 100, 200, 300 million rural subscribers there. Apart from entertainment based services, we are not providing them any information / utility service of their requirement. Okay, I would say utility services for the urban, utility services for the rural.
Okay, Samir, just coming to end of this debate, Samir, in the US and in Japan and so on and so forth, you've seen application startup stories, folks like Zynga and so on, which have made millions of dollars by just making successful applications. You think an Indian startup can actually do that here?
There's no reason why not. I think the good thing is that people understand that this is the environment. There's no point in piracy hasn't gone away for the last 20 years in the software. The biggest guys have been fighting it. So that's it. Treat this like piracy. It's a low revenue share market. Now build a model around it. And so if people just digest that and forget worrying about that, I think they'll be able to figure out and get along with their business model.
Siddharth, one thing that you would like to see change for this ecosystem to explode?
Just open the apps to the consumer. Let them choose what they want to download.
Virendra?
What I would say is that operators should enable the ecosystem to do more trials, and the application provider should focus on the consumers.
Samir?
I think simplicity with communication, because that's something that the content or the app community can't do. Simplify the access and communicate the hell out of it, similar to what they're doing with the Zuzu campaign or what people are selling. So I think that is the big gap in people consuming these services.
Shailesh, what should change either from yourselves or from the startup community itself?
I think 100% of the people have voice-enabled phones. All Indians like talking, all Indians like listening. Okay, so develop applications also on the voice front.
Subin?
You want to offer relevant services to all 500 million customers. So that's where the opportunity lies. Now you figure out what that key innovative relevant service is, and it'll be a winner.
So we are at Startup Saturday, and we have an audience of application developers, technologists and entrepreneurs alike, and they all have questions for this panel. So I'm going to take off the first question. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what your question is?
My question is to the gentleman from the operator end. Now, can there be services? As you are aware, there are a lot of services that are there in the App Store which are being given free to the user. Can there be services that are given free to the user without any subscription cost, but a revenue share deal happens on the data charges that the operator is charging?
Okay. I think had people gone to the model last year, it would have been pretty good. But you know what's happening in the market today? 98 rupees unlimited. Okay. So I very much doubt if you would be interested in doing that kind of model today. Okay.
Hi Hi, I'm Ruchika Abhi. I'm a founder of upid.in. I just wanted to find out about what you were saying about the win-win-win thing. So from what I understand, there's an app store. It's not open to developers yet. But how do I approach you? I have a win-win-win thing, but how do I go about approaching you then?
We don't have a, like say Apple or Google, we don't have a SDK that is published on www.google.com/SDK. We don't have that. Okay, it's pretty easy. Just call the board number and you can find out whom to contact. Okay, and there is a proper process, okay, to take people ahead from there. I'm not saying we're perfect. Okay, it's a journey and we are working on it. Okay, I think over the next 3 to 6 months you'll see a lot of changes happening, at least from Vodafone in this area.
Cool. That'll be nice then. Thank you.
Shailesh, are there plans to open a SDK sort of an interface for and make it open for all developers?
Yes.
Okay.
Like I said, Vodafone globally has this JIL initiative. Okay, we're looking at how we can adapt it for India.
So we had a fantastic discussion here. Obviously, they have different points of view, but I guess that's what makes every discussion interesting. I'd like to thank the audience. I'd like to thank all the panelists for taking time off from their busy schedules, and thank you very much for watching.
Well, there you go. You heard it straight from the horse's mouth. Better revenue sharing with app stores and plans to open it out to developers is what they really want. And you can be rest assured that we'll be tracking all the news in that space. But for now, we're going to take a breather on starting up. But up next, it's a surprise meeting for Ramesh on Mentor Mantra.